Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? This is so exciting to have all of you here with me. It's been historic, it's been memorable, it's been weeks and months of sweat, heartbreaks, burning the midnight candle. And here we are finally. Here we are finally. So, wherever you are, I just want you to clap for yourself for making it this far. Indeed, you have made it. And for our people who are there physically in Egypt, I just want you to wave to us who are virtually in space. Let me see your hand up, everyone. Just wave to everyone across the world. Perfect. Yes, so I am John Agri. I will be your MC for today, not your moderator, because you are both the moderators and the panelists. And the question is, why are we here? This is a Food for Climate Pavilion side event led by the Food at COP and the Yongo Agriculture Working Group. And it's all about our planet, our culture. We're here gathered so happy, but deep down in our hearts, we know there's this feeling of emptiness. And one of the reasons and one of the main ingredients to fill that void is for youth voices to be represented. Not just a yearly event at COI, COP, Youth Day at COP, no. But all over, young people on the streets, young people in classrooms, young people in C-suite levels, young people need to be part of the process from day one. How do we change that? How do we bring youth people to actually be the decision makers? And those are the other side being the action takers. Besides, there is the issues of consumer education and awareness. And on this day, we would also like to tackle this and educate, empower those who are not in the position to do so. Again, how do we bring people to make the right choices? So this side event by the Food at COP, the Yongo Agriculture Working Group, has been developed for and by the youth. And the whole program will feature young voices as we see them as crucial and meaningful. There will also be interactions behind the scenes as well as on the ground to drive home the key messages. On that note, let me please introduce our people for the day. And they will introduce themselves in a brief minute. So if you are here, Ramina, if you would like to introduce yourself in briefly, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ramina Paulette. I am the contact point for Food at COP in the Global South. And I'd like to pass it on to Oluwatosin. I am from Kenya, one of the campaigners for Food at COP.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's nice to see everyone here joining us at Food at COP. My name is Oluwatosin Ogunshola. I'm from Nigeria, and I'm the contact point, co-contact point for Agriculture Working Group of Yongo. Thank you. Everyone, can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello. Guys,
Hi guys, so I'm Gokul and I'm from student focusing on indigenous medicine, medicinal plants, so something like that. And I'm also founder and the CEO of Govardhan app, which is a social media for biodiversity. And that's it. Yeah.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Mtai, and I'm from Kenya. I'm a climate activist and also environmentalist, a campaigner at Food at Corp. Yeah.
Thank you very much, my fellow young leaders who are here, not because of the camera, but to reveal within them what needs to be done, why it should be done, and why we are here. And on that note, I think I will go straight to point. But before then, I would like to say a very big thank you to everyone who has gathered here. Considering the magnitude of COP27, with the number of side events, the pavilion, and even losing your way, you found your way here because of the issues at hand. So I thank everyone here. I do not call you participants, no, because you are part of the decision makers that is going to take place today. Thank you for sparing your time and your resources and your presence here. On that note, I would like to move straight to Ramina, who is going to tell us more about what exactly Food at COP. If I'm supposed to ask, is Food at COP 7 Food at COP? And also, what is this special hashtag Our Plants, Our Culture campaign? Please, over to you. Let me not take the curiosity out of the bag. So Ramina, please tell us everything we need to know.
Okay, Food at COP is an international campaign that is advocating for climate-friendly foods to be served in climate conferences, most especially the COPs. For this year, we came up with a campaign called Our Plants, Our Culture. We all know that COP27 is happening here in Egypt, which is in Africa. We're trying to bring out the sense of indigenous vegetables and fruits to be served here in the climate conference, because we're trying to link the sustainable food systems, climate change, and our own ancestral background. We all know that in our past lives, if you're from the global south, there has been your grandparents or great-grandparents who've been taking indigenous vegetables. They are very highly nutritive, they serve as herbals, and are actually climate friendly. We need to come up together to make such certain agendas to be made here in the COPs, because for us to make a change, we have to add up our voices. Last year, we didn't have the Food for Climate Pavilion, but today and this year, we have the Food for Climate Pavilion. Kindly applause for those who have been working together for the Food for Climate Pavilion. Just 1 minute, kindly give them a hearty clap. To the organizers, thank you so much for organizing this event. Our Food at COP has actually been partnering up with different organizations such as Buddhist Zushi Foundation, Proveg, who are doing an amazing work on plant-based meals. I hope that you can log into our Food at COP website so that you can see more of the works that we are doing and support us on our social media by using our plants, our culture, telling us more about how your plant-based meals are linked towards culture and climate change. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ramina, for that. And did you all hear that? Last year, we did not have Food for Climate Pavilion, but this year it is possible. This is what we call what? Resilience, and committed to a passion that gives birth to results. So no matter what you are doing, it's not about a 1 week, 2 weeks that, okay, this is going to happen. No, real results take time. And with time comes dedication. So yes, we thank everyone who has made it possible for us to be here for the very first ever Food for Climate Pavilion. This is indeed amazing. So over to you, Kelvin. It's great to have you here. And I know we've been hearing about planting trees, kitchen gardens, and a whole lot in relation to this wonderful and explosive campaign on our plants, our culture. So can you just tell us what exactly is going on, what it is about, and how it's relating to our plants, our culture? Kevin, over to you.
Hello. Hello. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, thank you very much. As I've mentioned earlier, my name is Kevin Mtaya, and I've been one of the campaigner on Food at Coop since long time ago. I can't remember very well. Yeah, and the reason why we came up with this campaign is because we have been seeing different COPs, and we have not having like many COPs. Like last year, COP was able to attend in Glasgow, and it was very sad to see that one thing, food was very expensive, especially for volunteering youth like us. We didn't able to afford food inside COP. Second, most of the food they were from the westernized, so it was like, so yeah, so it was like decolonized because it was only food which was favoring people from the global north country, but not us. So you find most of us, we were not able to take food from COP because for me, I come from Kenya where I love eating ugali and other things. So coming to COP and getting this kind of a food, it was like, no, I can't take this kind of a food. And the other one was, you have been fine. I remember very well, like Alok Sharma was able to take a bunch of vegetarian food, and it was able to encourage more people to join the other side. Also, I've been watching Kevin Hart so much. He was able to come up with one of the biggest like restaurant there in US about how to promote vegetarian thing. So it's for us as people here in COP to decide which way do you want to go. You know, sometimes you can't force anyone to be a vegetarian on a veg. It's your own decision. If you want to save your world, it's your own decision to make. What do you want to become in the future? I remember very well, we have been having these celeb people, like one person known as, I think both of you know Cristiano Ronaldo. He was in a press conference where he was able to remove a Coca-Cola bottle and say, I prefer drinking water. And it was a symbolic, especially in seeing how the profit was able to drop from around 2 billion. And we have been trying to encourage most people with this campaign, Food at COP, especially the celeb people, on how they can get involved in this campaign. Because this year COP being in Egypt, in an African, we wanted this COP to be having like indigenous food. And I'm very surprised that no indigenous food in this COP, no food from Maasai people, no food for certain people. The only food they are here, they are only favoring, I'm sorry to say, but global north people. Yeah, that's the only thing I had. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kevin. But Kevin, I think you left something out. Chapati. Am I right? You left chapati out. I do remember I was in Kenya for 3 weeks, and out of 5 days, almost every 2 days, I take chapati. I mean, it was a great food. But the issue you have raised is a very, 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 very important one, that every event is considered international, hence it has to be holistic, it has to be involving, and it has to cut across. Serving food that only feeds a handful or a part of the continent cannot be acceptable. And that is what Food at COP has engineered or re-engineered to make sure I don't want to say global north, global south. I just want to say global because we are all one family and the world is one stage. So thank you, Kevin, so much for highlighting this. And to come to my very brother who is here with us, Oluwa Tosin, all the way from Nigeria, an amazing young man. Please, can you also share some insights and highlights into how best this whole hula baloo about our plants, our culture, translates to the negotiations of KJWA, and also how best traditional and indigenous farming practices are discussed. How are all these meshed into one singular youth voice? Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you so much, John, for the question. And thank you, everyone. To start with, we understand the importance of food, water, and energy as basic life support for we humans. And to put it into perspective, as the population is growing, there's large demand on food. And if food becomes of essence and of importance, then it's good for us to talk about food. And the best place in which we can talk about food, the negotiations, is the Coronivia Joint Work on Agriculture. And that is where we talk about everything that has to, that is where we talk about everything that has to do with food. So in that sense, we promoting our plant, our culture, indigenous fruits and vegetables. We are promoting it because we understand the role they play in our health. We understand the role they play in planetary boundaries. We understand the role they play in cleaning air. We understand the role it plays in respiration. So from that standpoint, campaign so that we can be able to get text into the Coronivia Joint Work on Agriculture that supports some of these things, because we understand the fact that food loss and waste is also a challenge. And in that sense, we also know from research that when humans relate with food in their own community, it reduces on the extent of transport or mobility, them to be able to access food. So when the food is low and you're able to access them in time and at when due, then you will reduce loss, you will reduce, and from that angle, we can be able to save so much on our carbon emission. We understand the fact that food is a big issue in terms of carbon emission. And that is part of the reason why we are pushing for Food at COP and also advancing action on some of this negotiation to be able to capture a number of these texts in the negotiation room. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my fellow colleague, for that brief summary of that. Now, to participants, I'm sure some may be asking, well, what is this big word KJWA, Coronivia? What's so listen, KJWA simply means the Coronivia Joint Work on Agriculture. Now, this is a landmark decision under the UNFCCC that recognizes, listen to me, that recognizes the unique potential of agriculture in tackling climate change. So forget about the big word, the abbreviations. Just know that it's all about how the potential of agriculture can be used to tackle climate change, as simple as that. And if you want to know more, these panelists are those after the session you can walk up to and they can tell you more. There is a young group that also work in relation with FAO on this joint work. So please get in touch with them. Oluwatosi is here, Ramina is here, Kevin is here, Gokul is here. And get to know more about how to join and how to contribute to that as well. I think we've had enough of speech from those on stage, our panelists. Please, let's move on to those that matter. You, is there any question or any submission our participants would want to put on the floor of the session? Is there anyone who would want to? Before I move to Gokul, please, is there anyone? Is there anyone? All right, I can see Gokul is ready. I can see you. I can see you.
Yes,
already.
there is someone. There is someone. There are
There's
people. Yeah.
someone. Let's give them a shot. So you pick it up and then yes.
Just a question about trade, particularly in Africans and in the global South. How we're going to overcome trade barriers so that this wonderful culture of plant biodiversity, agroecology, and so forth can spread into a region and become more economically viable. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, I can pick up the question. It's fine. Trade is of essence to all economy, especially the global economy. And from that angle, exchange between countries cannot be overemphasized. But then we also understand the role food plays across regions, and there are divides in food. Yeah. So if there are export promotion on a particular specification on food, then we can be able to tap into that to scale trade in that regard. But then we shouldn't look over on trade in itself and forget the role in which food itself plays. Food on its own is to benefit human and for them to be able to go on their daily activities, daily life. Trade is in every phase of life. So not only in agriculture, in different other industries. So for trade, it's a whole ball game, and food is just an essential part in it. So in that sense, I feel it's a good one. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for that response.
Thank you so much. My name is Simon Bokenya, and I have two questions and a comment. First of all, understand that hunger is the biggest effect of climate change all over the globe. Why is that so? Because we have lost sovereignty to our own food, and that is indigenous food. So when I see the young people, like those on stage, promote food for our planet, indigenous food, I mean, it's really important because we get to appreciate our own food. But then what about the practicability of this? There are so many small-scale farmers at the grassroots level who actually do this kind of farming. They grow indigenous food. But do our young people here who come to these conferences really know how this is done on the ground? Do you really go to the ground?
I'm a farmer, by the way.
Okay.
I have farm, I grow tomatoes, I grow fruits and vegetables, I do spices, and I train farmers also like myself. Young minds with agroforestry, agroecology practices, and also scaling it along the line for years now.
That's good.
Okay, as a young person, I'd like to say I'm trying enough to influence other people, especially the ones from the global south who have these indigenous vegetables. You see, like current generation, we are moving towards a westernized type of system where we tend to forget our own culture and what our ancestors used to do about indigenous vegetables. Regarding to your question, I think the most key thing is awareness to the young people so they can bring back these indigenous vegetables, the growing and all these kind of systems. For right now, we're trying to encourage many young people to have their own kitchen gardens and to learn more about their own indigenous vegetables. Because for me personally, we eat indigenous vegetables back at home, and my grandmother taught me that, my mom taught me that. But what about others? That's why we're using the power of the social media to reach out to many young people, to make them to realize that right now in this kind of world, we're trying to go back to our roots so that we can promote food sustainability.
Thank you so much, Ramina, and your colleague from Nigeria. Another issue is about land. Most of the young people have little or no access to land to grow the food that they want, you want them to grow. How are you addressing that issue? How are you influencing the policymakers at the national level to make sure that these young people can actually access land, but also the education and awareness for these practices that may lead to, getting access to indigenous food?
Well, for us, mainly we believe that we could start and make a difference with the little space that we have. For me personally, back in Kenya, we use waste plastics to make kitchen gardens. You can just hang them on the wall. So for that, you don't need like a big space, like a big land, so that you can be able to like have your own kitchen garden and plant your own your own indigenous vegetables. So for us, you're mainly trying to do like the main grassroots things, apart from the policies and everything, because it usually starts from the ground to up. So once we start like everyone trying to do the same things, the actions on the ground, then it will definitely reach up to that side. So right now we're still focusing much more on the local grassroots, trying to tell young people to have their own kitchen gardens, because even in Africa, for instance, we don't have much space, much land. Not everyone has a land. So we're trying to tell them that they could use their little space, even if it's in their backyard, to make a kitchen garden. Because for us, mainly we're trying to encourage subsistence crop farming. Yeah.
Thank you. Lastly,
I would like to add to what she said. In Yongo, we collect food and agricultural inputs to the Global Youth Statement, and we organize LCOIs to collect all of these inputs from young persons across the world. So the last one was collected. I organized it, and it was an input into the Global Youth Statement that has been presented to the COP presidency. Yeah, and land governance and access to land is also one of the key main themes that youth have also highlighted there. And we are looking at our best to be able to push it into some of the negotiating points, and definitely to the national level, so that it gets into policy making, and then we can be able to push further on commitment on it. Thank you.
okay, thank you so much for all your feedback. Lastly, we should also appreciate that not everybody, that there are so many levels of engagement in production of food for the young people. For example, you are a farmer, but there are some others who may be traders, some others and consumers, because that's the value chain. So how are you promoting business for the youth to appreciate that they can make a livelihood out of growing indigenous food? Yeah.
Okay. I can take you up on that. Yeah. Agriculture is a way of life. Agribusiness is a different ball game. So if you are doing agriculture, farming, it's a way of life, okay? But when you're doing agribusiness, you're looking at the business side of agriculture. So when you're looking at the business side of agriculture, you take it as a business person. And you're looking at your investment, you're looking at your profit, you're looking at how you are contributing to the economy, and also to a CSR to the community. So from that standpoint, it's two different things, but still in line with each other. So in that sense, I think we might have to differentiate between the two, or you want me to talk more about agribusiness in itself, which yes, we can't do without the business of food, because food is for all. Yeah, it has a large customer base. It has a large market. Yeah, and as a business person, you are also looking at how to maximize profit while you're also conserving on the environment. So from that standpoint, we are promoting business person, small and medium scale SMEs, youth-led SMEs who are looking at doing the business of agriculture to incorporate sustainability into their models so that we can be able to trace where the food is coming from. Has it been sustainably grown? The people who grew it, were they paid fair wages? You know, all of those other metrics and certifications that goes into it before we can now say, yes, you are promoting a sustainable agricultural practice in your business model. And that is the way to go if you want to do business within the agricultural space. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry I've
Thank you.
taken up so much
you
time. I'm sorry.
very much. I think before we come back to the participants with a question and answer, this has been very, very practical and insightful. There are some keywords that have been coming up, and this is kitchen gardens, fruits and vegetables, and indigenous food. On that note, I would like to bring in Gokul to come in to share his insights on the role of indigenous fruits and vegetables in our community and what are also his thoughts in relation to this campaign going on. Then we come back to the participants and build from there again. So over to you, Gokul.
Thank you. Hi guys. So I'm from Kerala, India, which is an indigenous part, like a non-city part of India, and where like there is less number of activists or people working for the climate or for anything like a food campaign or something like that. So from an aspect point of view, from there, indigenous vegetables over there are being not so much popular. Just people are looking at the Western things and are like saying that Western ways are more better and always everything in the Western side is great. So we wanted to bring this good Food at Co as expansion for Food at Co. We wanted to do more as youth, not just to talk, but we wanted to do more. We want to bring up action, and we want to preserve this wonderful cultures around the world. So yeah, we just came up with a platform for this called Govardhan in India for something like a social media for our biodiversity. So it's like we wanted to give all these beautiful plants here, beautiful plants a username, and using this platform, we wanted to collect information about how nutritious this is, how you guys, like indigenous people, use this around the world. So something like we already have platforms which we use to identify plants, but there doesn't have something which gives you value other than identification. We wanted to do something more like showcase how different cultures around the world are using this. So it's a cloud-based platform, and starting out in India, there's something mostly beautiful is that the medicinal culture over there. Each plant is considered like having some kind of a medicinal property. So we started with collecting information about medicinal plants, and it doesn't stop there, and how it's used in different kinds of cultural activities, how it's used, its nutritional value and everything. Something really important for us, because indigenous ways are being vanishing around the planet. Like everyone is going towards the Western or modernized culture. Before everything vanishes, we wanted to like preserve this information about our biodiversity, our indigenous knowledge, which is really beautiful, and it's something which makes us from something like which makes us as. It was really difficult for me right now itself to like eat the food from here. Rather, I want to go home and have some samosa or something like that. So it's us who we are. Our food is what we are. So we are something doing. We are also making action as well in this field. So that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gokul. I like what you did. You personified the fruits and veg by saying that plants are beautiful. And also when you said What we eat is who we are. This is really a drive home message. And thank you so much for your contribution to the discussion at hand. So yes, my people, now to the millions of questions in the room. Who is next with their question?
Thanks. I'm Wilberforce from Ghana. My concern is that most young people don't want to go to the kitchen. You are not cooking. You are buying food. How are you going to convince your colleagues? Because we belong to a network, Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa. And we are shying away from Nigeria. You have infested Ghana with Indomie. And that's all we are eating now. All the young people are eating those stuff. You know, in my home, I don't know how to call it in English, but dawa dawa is a spice. And it has some funny smell, you know. So my daughter wouldn't want to use it. But my wife makes sure that she blends the tomatoes with it. And then she says, okay, now go and cook. And then she's forced to, but it's very medicinal. But the reality is that our young people are not cooking. They are buying food. How are we going to talk about health, food as medicine? How are you going to get this thing done since your colleagues are not cooking?
What a question.
Oh, okay. You want to answer? Okay. For me, I cook, yeah. But then I see if we understand the need for food, we will know that food is not just to fill up the stomach. It's to rejuvenate your system, yeah. And from that knowledge, if we're able to communicate, build capacity, push on the social media, one-on-one convention for people, then that is part of what we do at Food at Corp, to be able to preach young persons like us and tell them the importance of food. Food is not just to fill your stomach, it's to keep you going. You get energy from it, you detoxify your system with it, and then you rejuvenate your cells with it. So if they get the understanding, then they'll be able to choose and select on what they consume. Because we have different variety of diets, we have different persons who choose what they eat, yeah. But then it's more on we being able to let them know why you are eating what you are eating. If you don't know why you are eating what you are eating, then you follow every other person to eat whatever you have found available, yeah. And I feel that is part of what is happening at the moment. But then if we can only change this by engaging more and then helping everyone to understand the reason why food should be selectively eaten in that sense, yeah.
And that one more thing is that as a Food at Corp campaigner, I have to say that each mother is also a campaigner. Each mother is also a campaigner. They are like telling their child like how important is the food are, like why you should eat it, and for, maybe sometimes forcing it on them because it's for their good. But someday they will understand how important it is, like, and also how important it is for them, and also it will be part of their lifestyle once. So each mother should know why it's important. That's why we are also doing this campaign.
Yeah, let me add an input. I'm very sure that your child is a teenager, right? Your daughter, is she a teenager? She's a youth. Okay, since I fall under the teenager and youth bracket, I'd like to say that, first of all, I'm a daughter of someone. My mother is just outside there with the orange top. So I'd like to say that it usually also depends with how you've been brought up in your house. Like, I cook for my family, and you see that many young mothers, especially, I'm sorry for saying this, like using Africa most of the time, With the African mothers, they usually influence their children, although they will tend to force you to eat it, but they will try to influence through perhaps telling you a story behind it, how these indigenous vegetables come to life. So I think for the youth and teenagers, it's really important for us to get to them via the internet. You see, like when you tell them something, they won't listen. But if they see it on the social media, they'll run to you and say that I want this. Why our plans are mainly focusing on doing engagement so that you can reach out many youths so that we can change their mindset towards these indigenous vegetables consumption.
Yeah, maybe I can add one something. I think about our youth, maybe they are not cooking. I think that was your question. And I think it's because parenthood. You know, I live in a village where I was living with my grandmother, and my grandmother taught me how to cook everything, including how to bake cake, to cook ugali, to cook chapati. And it was through it was a painful process because she was using cane. It was cane. I think, Kevin, you know, you need to know how to cook. Don't depend on maybe on future on your wife to cook for you. And another thing, I think is the attitude of this kind of fashion. Like most people in town, including maybe some people inside this room, you say, yeah, I cannot go into cook. Let me go and pick something in the supermarket. I think that is thing which mostly people in town, they usually do. And this is come because sometimes when you need to go and buy food, it's very expensive. So it's better for you to go and buy something in the supermarket, which is cheaper compared to something in there to cook. Yeah, that was my point, yeah.
And one more thing I'd like to add is the lifestyle. Our lifestyles are changing right now. And one of my friends saw my video of myself in my college back in Kerala, where we were like having a lunch time, sitting together, every friends like having a lunch together with all my friends. And she was saying, oh, wow, you guys eat food like this. Back in my place, we just have like go to the nearby restaurant, take something and go to the class, eat from within the class, we just eat it. And seeing this video, I feel like you guys are like really close to each other. And the like food also like comes up with like cultural like bonding as well. Food brings you bonding as well. And yeah, it should be like presented in a correct manner to everyone. That's what we are lacking, and we need to bring up the awareness about that as well. Yeah, and that's it.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Lauren Anderson. I'm here from the University of Pennsylvania in the United States of America. Thank you for this presentation. Your space is beautiful, and congratulations on this campaign. It's excellent. I applaud you. And I wanted to ask you a question. Well, first I wanted to tell you, you're not just reaching youth, you're reaching old people too. I'm sitting here and I'm very moved. But I wanted to ask you about the hurdles in setting this up. So you're trying to be inclusive and you're trying to raise awareness, and you have a vast amount of cultures and food systems to be inclusive of. What were some of the hurdles in making the decisions you made, in choosing how to include, what to raise awareness of? And also, what are some of the challenges maybe within the COP system in launching this sort of campaign? Thank you.
Ramina or anyone else? Okay.
Okay, maybe I can tackle the challenge. Yeah, like I think last year we were able to have a call, Food at COP, a call with the COP26 presidency. And it was very difficult because you find that even last year, when you've been very careful, you can go and link the Glasgow climate impact. You'll never find any word about food. So I think most in this COP, they have been able to put other things on front, but not food. So they have been taking food as one of the least topic to be discussed in this COP. That's why you have been seeing this year, the topic which have been trending. I was able to come here like on 30th. The topic which have been trending is loss and damage. And when you talk about loss and damage, you need also to talk about food. So that is my point.
Thank you very much. I think we've had one amazing session of Q&A where we've all raised issues on what needs to be done. Now, I would like to come back to our panelists for one round of activity. We have talked the talk about the headaches, the obstacles, and our university representative was also asking, considering the magnitude of all this. So, Ramina, what exactly needs to be done? What exactly needs to be done? If we are given the opportunity now, what are the solutions? What are the way forward for a meaningful youth engagement in promoting indigenous fruits and vegetables? So let's start with Ramina in quick succession of 2 minutes. What are your views?
Okay, as a youth, I believe that we can make certain changes within the system. It's not that hard, but the problem is the negotiators and the people at the table who are not pushing for these agendas. Kevin has spoken about the trending thing, which is the loss and damage. Yet you're not speaking about the agriculture, the sustainable agriculture. More often, we're trying to look at possible ways that we could solve the climate crisis, but we are not looking at the simple ways that we could solve the climate crisis. Even in our home states, it first starts with changing your mindset. From changing your mindset, changing your diet. I believe the many youth over here, as much as we have all the people over here, we have youths, and we believe that the youth have a better voice to push on for this agenda. I actually participated in the Stockholm Plus 50 Youth Task Force together with one of the lead, which was Alphonse Muia. When we were back in Kenya for the UNEA Plus 50, we were speaking about sustainable food agriculture system. And we're lucky that Food@Corp was actually included. Our Plants Our Culture campaign was included in the proposition paper that was presented at the Stockholm Plus 50. And at the Stockholm Plus 50, we had vegan foods, which is actually really amazing. Since right now we're trying to push on for this agenda at the main conferences where there are the people, the leaders. For me personally, I feel like we can try to make some certain differences by beginning with our own selves, like changing our mindset and attitudes towards advocating for such issues, because it's really important for us to speak on major issues like agriculture, which is being left out at the high level discussions. Even in the World Leaders Summit, you could look at the speeches that were made by the world leaders. It was like 5% or even 1% of it was touching on agriculture, which needs to change. For the youth over here, I think that you could be influenced in any way or another to make a change in your community. It's not a must for you to be from the global south to make a difference. You can also be the change you need in the global north to advocate for plant-based meals and climate-friendly foods in such conferences. When you have, like, let's say, for example, an event, a youthful event somewhere, you just tell them about the campaign and you're telling them that the importance of us as youths to push on for this kind of things, the conversations that are really beneficial for the future.
Amazing, 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 amazing. Thank you so much, Ramina, for that. And one thing you said that resonates is simplifying the solutions, simplifying the solutions. Many times they've made the whole climate change scope so complex, it puts anxiety in young people as to what needs to be done. So simplifying the process is very key. Oluwatosin, over to you. Your solutions, your way forward, and key take-home message in 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. I would like to say that behavioral change is key, and changes or action is always best done locally, but then the impact of it is global. And that is why we here promoting our plants, our culture under the Food at Cup campaign. We are spreading the message so that everyone represented here, comes from different countries and from different communities. We can then take this message back into our communities and spread the good news to everyone there. Likewise, also in your network of friends, business partners, and all. As much as you meet people daily and greet them, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, you should also be able to tell them about the importance of food so that everyone is aware of this, and then they can begin, because when you hear something over and over and over again, there's a way it sticks to your mind, and there's a way it makes you to be able to think again about it. So when you are making an option, a decision in the superstore or at the market, there's a way it reminds you of what you've had, and then you're able to make decision on what to buy and then what to eat. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Goku, over to you. Goku, over to you. So kindly share your thoughts, your final words.
Question again?
Can you share your final thoughts?
Can you ask me the question again? The people here are like sleepy and they don't know, I think. Can you ask me the question again?
Yes. So now with the whole headaches that we've talked about in indigenous fruits and vegetables, what are the solutions and what are your key take-home message?
Okay, for me, for this to happen, we need awareness, policies for farmers. Like there is a lot of young people who are looking for opportunities around like something more out of their community. They can do special, something more. So we want to make this farm, like the occupation of being a farmer, more like valuable. More education should be given to these farmers, more consideration and more subsidization should be given. Like we should hear from the farmers more, and also we should give more power to them, so that like we can back in my place, farmer is considered to be like low class people. Like they are just considered like works in the soil and not a white collar job. So we need to improve these situations. Like maybe we can give them more education, something like that. Because yeah, I was at the World Food Forum, and most of the people was talking that we should educate our farmers so that their class, they are not seen as like background people or like low class people don't have education or something like that, like proper money or like high level people. So what I think is that we should make awareness for our young people to come up, have some like indigenous food and know the value of these foods and our culture. And also wants like you guys, like super moms, like Ramina's mom, to like campaign on making their young children more towards understanding the knowledge of indigenous importance. And also government should also make policies for these farmers, keeping in mind that they are feeding the world. They are the feeders of the world. Without them, we will starve to death. So that's it from my side.
Thank you very much. So Kevin, wrap it up for us in your few words.
Okay, yeah, I think for me it's just love your planet, love your culture, and you love your world. And for the world leader, please be inclusive, being ambitious, and being realistic.
Amazing. Love your planet, love your food, love yourself, love everything you do. This has been very, very, very insightful session that we have had. But we cannot go until I fully acknowledge people who have tirelessly put this together. That is Food at Cup Caroline, Food at Cup Ramina, Yongo Agriculture Working Group Oluwatosin, Debian, Goku, Juliet, Lana, you all have been amazing in putting this session together. Now, before, Ramina, I want to ask you, so what next with this campaign? From here, what next? We've had a beautiful session. I remember the Food at COP was also at the World Food Forum. So what is exactly that we are doing? What is the way forward with the Our Planet, Our Culture campaign? What next from here? Ramina, in few seconds, what next from here?
Well, I think we should keep on pushing for such changes, most especially with our campaign, Our Plants, Our Culture, because it's not yet done, but we're trying our level best to make it happen. So that's all that I could say for now.
Perfect. Let's keep pushing. I always tell people we keep pushing, we move, and playtime is over. Thank you so much, our wonderful young leaders who have graced their time, and to our participants. Please, after here, well, I think we can have a group photo if that is fine. Ramina Oluwatosi, what is the modality? Are we having a group photo or are we good to go?
I think we can have a quick group photo,
Okay,
maybe
okay.
inside or outside. What's the best?
Inside. You can take it inside.
Inside.
Yeah. Guys, join everyone.
All right, people, let's join, let's have a photo day.
Yeah.
Well done, well done. Thank you so much, everyone. So please interact.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and